so much that I sometimes find myself trying to obey traffic laws alongside the other vehicles, becoming fully immersed into the game world. However, there's very few things that will pull you out of that immersion faster than what our friend here would eventually end up doing. After we pulled out of Golden Hills, the gentleman proceeded to head south past Main Bank Stadium and then pulled off into the terminal drop-off section of Los Santos International Airport, where he proceeded to drive past every single terminal without picking up or dropping off any passengers whatsoever, which I think we can all agree is a little strange. But I don't know if at the time, maybe he just took a wrong turn and didn't need to go to the airport at all. And sure enough, after pulling out of the airport altogether, he immediately went back into the airport terminals and looped around a second time, confirming that he was either here on purpose or that he was very lost and that he was very stupid, as if that wasn't strange enough. After driving out of the airport a second time, he invited the Sprucey Beach of the Laputa Road. Our subject made the big sudden decision that he would no longer allow either traffic laws nor the presence of other vehicles to impact his decision making, as he scraped against two Gatchdown buses before driving the wrong way up a one-way road and head on into another vehicle before turning off the road altogether and pulling into this parking lot. At which point he just kind of started driving in circles for seemingly no reason whatsoever. After about 5 minutes of watching this man drive around in circles, I was about to call it quits and leave him to it. But just when he started to run off, he at long last pulled out of the parking lot and back down the road we came here from. At which point I finally got close enough to the driver's side window to realize that he was now a she, and she was now white. This was
Oh.
such a bizarre change that I at first assumed I had at some point started following a different car by mistake. But this is where that license plate number comes in handy, as I was still following 45JJP772. And after looking back through my footage real quick, I was indeed able to confirm that this was in fact the same car I had been following this entire time. At some point, this NPC had been entirely replaced right in front of me without me ever noticing. And this wasn't the only time this would happen either, because after not even another minute of driving, this blonde white woman suddenly began to speed down before pulling over onto this overpass and getting out of her vehicle to reveal that she had once again transformed, this time into a very frightened Hispanic brunette. Now I had no idea what was going on at this point, why she was so frightened, why she kept transforming, or why she had gotten out of her vehicle. But I did know one thing, and it was that despite being in heels, she was still fast as fuck. I just could not keep up with her on foot. And no matter how long I followed her, she just kept running away from me for some reason. Now, admittedly, I did hit her car a couple of times while trying to keep up with her, so I thought it may be possible that I put this NPC into some kind of a frightened state that was causing her to act this way. So, in order to figure out what exactly was going on, I began to follow a few more NPCs around, this time being more careful to avoid hitting them at least as much as possible. First, I started off with this garbage truck, hoping to see it pick up some garbage. However, the only thing I ever saw him pick up was Franklin out of his car after about 39 minutes of following him aimlessly around the city. He then climbed back up into his own car after hitting me a couple of times, only to eventually end up in this parking lot on Vespucci Beach, endlessly doing circles alongside several other vehicles, just like we saw with our first NPC. It was also while we were here that I made a very important observation, and it's going to become very important for our analysis later, so pay attention. That despite watching a dozen vehicles come in and out of this parking lot, at no point did any moving vehicle ever park, nor did any parked vehicle ever begin to drive out of the lot. Every single vehicle that was moving in this parking lot either drove in here off the street and started doing circles, or was already moving in the parking lot when I first arrived. Now, this is strange for two reasons. Because one, what the fuck am I looking at right now? In
Hmm.
what universe would 20 cars drive into a parking lot, do a bunch of laps, and then drive back out? Frankly, with the level of detail Rockstar has put into this game, I find it hard to imagine they would overlook something as jarring and as obvious as this without a very good reason. A reason which I'll be making a guess as to later. And two, we already know from both of the NPCs we followed so far that NPCs in this game are perfectly capable of parking their cars, getting out, moving around, or even getting back into them and driving off. So there's no real mechanical reason in this game why an NPC can't just park in the parking lot here and get out. In fact, there are multiple places in the game where randomly spawned NPCs actually do park and get out of their car. The first one I saw was when I pulled into this gas station, only for this woman to pull in a few seconds later, exit her vehicle, and then go to this building, before pulling out her phone and then standing there, looking at her phone for over a full in-game day before I decided to approach her to find out just what it was that managed to occupy her for over 24 hours straight, only for her to then run away in panic the moment I grew near. Not even back to her car, which, by the way, had still been sitting at the pump for well over a day now, but instead across the highway and into the wilderness. I initially tried to follow her, but she ran with such speed and vigor that she quickly left my sight as she crested over the nearby mountain. But once I managed to reach the peak myself, I quickly found that cougar. Oh my god! Fucking the second time I saw someone park was coincidentally also at a gas station. While eyeing up another unintended car at the pump, an entire bus, passengers still on board, pulled into the parking lot. At which point the driver disembarked, walked over to the gas station, and began what I can only describe as the longest smoke break of all time, lasting over 2 full days uninterrupted. And when I tried to approach him to see what was up, he called me a scab. Implying that he wasn't just on a smoke break, but he was on strike, presumably refusing to drive his bus any further until his demands were met. Now, it does feel a little bit rude to strike while you still have passengers on the bus, but don't worry, because when I looked away from them here, they managed to pop out of existence in the 20 seconds I had my head turned away for. And honestly, serves them right for crossing the picket line. We show solidarity with a labor on this channel and eagerly await to see this gentleman's demands be met. So, how did this little labor strike end? Well, while I was pausing the recording to take notes on our bus driver's brave class struggle, he also despawned as well. So I guess the strike is over now. Did the workers win? Did scouts take all of their jobs? I have no idea. And either way, the buses in this game are so dysfunctional that it's honestly hard to tell what's even going on with them. Yeah, squeeze off pie here. Buses you find driving around the city will still almost always have passengers in them, implying that bus lines are functioning properly and picking people up. So it doesn't seem like there's any strike going on. However, if you actually go to a bus stop and wait, you'll quickly realize that no one is ever going to come and pick you up. I waited 2 full days here, and not a single bus ever stopped at this station. Further confirmed my suspicions, I began following random buses around town. This Dashhound bus I found driving around downtown had a couple of passengers on it already, so I followed it around to see if it would go
Hello.
along. And not formally did
I
it
played
ever
some
stop
earlier.
any stop of any sort whatsoever. But when it eventually got stuck behind this taxi and an 18-wheeler clogging the road, I took a peek back inside the bus to notice that, just like the bus in the parking lot, all the passengers inside the bus had despawned, despite the fact that the bus had never stopped driving the entire time, confirming that actual passengers in these vehicles are not being tracked by the game at all. If you look away for too long, they will just stop existing. And despite what I've read online claiming that this game has a functioning bus route system, these buses also don't seem to follow any particular routes either. All of the same buses going down what should be the same route, and you'll quickly find that they go in wildly different directions with seemingly no pattern whatsoever. I've seen buses drive on the docks, out of the city, and mostly do circles in the suburbs. And this is when the buses are working. Sooner or later, the eventual fate of all of these buses seems to be that their pathfinding breaks entirely. This turquoise bus, which I thought was doing a route to the airport, eventually just turned into this neighborhood before driving off the road into a goddamn house, getting back onto the road, and then driving one street over into a train. I don't mean like it was crossing the tracks and got hit by a train. I mean it drove into a moving train that was already in front of it before finally getting stuck between a light pole and another car once that train had passed by. At which point, the sheer
Hello.
chaos that this bus had caused began to attract the attention of the police, who seemed to blame me for the whole ordeal. Another bus I followed to the airport met an even stranger fate, where, after 25 minutes of doing anything other than following its bus route, it suddenly decided to make the brave and intrepid decision to
Hmm.
drive the wrong way up this one-way ramp, running directly into several other oncoming vehicles, and then spent the next 30 minutes attempting to plow through the other cars before realizing it had the ability to turn left, successfully driving around everything and onto the sidewalk. At which point it attempted to make a 3-point turn My following of this bus was forcefully brought to an end. Oh no, please don't drive into that. After all this, I feel I can safely confirm that for as long as you follow them, these buses will simply never do their job of picking up or dropping off passengers. The buses you see driving around Los Santos exist purely for show and serve no function whatsoever, which is extremely strange because rarely, and I do mean so rarely, that I had to drive up and down this street for 10 hours to even see it happen. You will find buses actively letting passengers on or off at a bus stop. So buses do have the ability to
Wow.
function as an actual public transportation system. But even with these ones, you find working the way you would expect. Follow them, and they cease to function entirely. They
Hmm.
will never again pick up or drop off anyone, no matter how long you follow them for. And keep that in mind, because as the more observant viewer has already noticed, a grand pattern has already emerged here. But as it stands, no NPC has really gone on to do anything of note once I start following them. And this isn't limited to vehicles either. Whether it's by car or by foot, every NPC seems to just wander around at random and occasionally fly into fits of rage once they realize I'm following them. What about NPCs we know should already be going somewhere when we find them? Do they ever make it to where they're supposedly going? Now, it's not super easy to find anyone in this game that we know for a fact has a job to do. This man doesn't look like he's ever had a job in his life, but wander around for long enough, and you will eventually find a first responder actively responding to an emergency. Just like this fire truck I found trying to turn around in the road with their siren going, which presumably means they just received a call and are in the process of responding to a fire emergency, right? Well, as I followed him, it did initially seem that way. Other vehicles didn't move out of the way for it like they're supposed to, but this fire truck was ignoring normal traffic laws and weaved through traffic as fast as possible. So it did seem like they were trying to rush off somewhere, as you would expect, only for them to turn their siren off and then take a hard rightward swerve, running over this woman standing on the street corner. The fire truck then
Mm.
completed their turn as to now be facing the initial direction they were already heading, meaning that this woman suffered for literally no reason whatsoever. This first responder's erratic behavior, however, did not end there. As despite having their siren turned off, they kept running red lights and maneuvering past other vehicles on the road, seemingly still in a rush to be somewhere. We then proceeded to do multiple laps around this neighborhood until, completely out of the blue, the fire truck slammed their brakes to spray this passing car with their water cannon, which, as I was tailing them, forced me to slam on my brakes, which then caused two other vehicles to slam into me. One of those vehicles, being a cop, immediately decided that this whole ordeal was somehow my fault. So, wasn't this fire truck responding to any emergencies? No.
Infinite possibilities. Case big.